Welcome to Beyond the Breakdown, a podcast where we delve into rugby, life inside, alongside and outside of the sport and our brilliant local clubs. Today, I'm with one of our game's biggest stars and a top guy, George North. Although his story started in Ynys Anglesey, and this episode is rooted in Llangefni Rugby Football Club, we're recording in between training at Stade Maurice David, home of Provence rugby here in the south of France. Together, we'll be tracing the arc of a legendary career, looking at the man behind the highlights, fatherhood, moments of doubt, and how we build resilience, whilst reflecting on the challenges and opportunities facing players, local fans, and communities in our changing world. Well, George, thanks for making time for us in between training.
No, thank you very much. I didn't know what to talk because I was like, it's like podcast video. Hello, sorry.
Well, throughout this series, we've been talking to rugby legends in local clubs, kind of connecting the grassroots of rugby with the heroes that we know and love in Wales. This is a little bit different because today we're in the south of France, in Provence at Stade
Maurice David.
Thank you very much. And wow, like what a stadium, right?
Yeah, we did make a joke because like if you do squint for the viewers rather than the listeners, it does look like Wales a little bit if you really squint. But,
with a bit of rosé in as well.
Yeah, no, it's a wicked little stadium. It says about 10,000, but they squash a few more in, and we play Thursday and Friday nights, and it's like absolutely bouncing.
Oh,
like
wow.
they do a night game very well here in France. So we play sort of 7:30 or 9 Friday nights and Thursday nights, and it's bouncing. Yeah.
Do you know what? You've got to love French rugby. You've got to. The one thing I love about French rugby is that there's such a strong sense of identity, like the connection between the team and the town or the community. What's it like here?
It's huge because if you think about it, where the region is, Provence is a region. We got we got Toulon in the region. So you think rugby place, but we're so close to Marseille football. It's kind of like a funny feeling.
Yeah.
But the love for the rugby here, especially in Provence, that's why the name has changed a few times. It was just ex-rugby, then it was Aix-en-Provence rugby, now it's Provence rugby because they want to incorporate the whole region. And you see it on match day, like they do it incredibly well. You know, the fan base, it's all the home games now are sold out.
Wow.
And again, like Thursday night, 9 p.m. sold out. It's incredible. The atmosphere, live band. Like I said to you earlier, you can get like fresh seafood in the corner with rosé. It's like unreal. It's very French, but it's incredible the atmosphere and the following it has.
Yeah, I can believe that. So I mean, you've kind of gone from the frying pan to the fire. You've spent all of your career in the cauldron of kind of public opinion, Welsh rugby, like Test rugby, and you now playing rugby in France, which is its own cauldron. But how has the move changed your relationship with the game? Like, do you enjoy it differently out here?
Well, I guess if people are saying nasty things, I don't really understand, so I get French. So I guess that's a Brucey bonus. Like for me, this move was about the experience, about experiencing French rugby, trying to help Provence on their journey to top 14, top 14. It was a big draw for me, Bex and the boys, as an experience. Like I was, my dad was in the RAF, but he toured, we went with him, but I don't remember any of it. I was still a pup. But my boys now, they're like speaking French.
That's awesome.
My youngest over dinner the other night when Becky put the salad down the table. And my youngest, who's 4, Tommy, turns around and says, "Oh, Mum, where's the vinaigrette?"
Nice.
And I was like, "You are so French, child. We'll get you back to Wales now."
They'll be having ketchup on as soon as, all right.
He's like, "Mum, where's the vinaigrette?" And me and Beck looked at each other like, what is going on here? But look, what is it? Early January, the blue skies. It's a bit fresh, but the lifestyle, the French lifestyle, the family life especially, they prioritize that more than anything. And for me, Bex and the boys, it's been incredible. We've met some amazing people with the club, some amazing people with the school, and it's been everything I thought it would and more.
Awesome.
It's been some bits have been very different. Yeah. Some bits have been very cliche. Like I said, I wouldn't be the guy that would walk, through the village to the boulangerie every day to get a baguette with the kids. I am that guy.
Now you are, yeah.
But like, Jimmy, it's an incredible part of the world. The club have been really good. Some of the sponsors have become really good friends.
Yeah.
And, like going picking vines with some of the sponsors over in like Fuvo Way or Tretz has been incredible, and it's just seeing my boys like handpick, and it's just like, do you know what I mean? That's
special.
Yeah,
right?
it's been amazing. Yeah.
Do you know, rugby's such a privileged kind of life, a privileged chapter of your life, you know, to earn a living, doing what you love. But when that can impact your family as well, it kind of adds an extra dimension.
Oh, it's when now the boys are correcting my French, but they don't speak French, so it's kind of like
awkward.
Yeah, I'm like, hang on, is that right? And I'm asking them, and they're asking me. I'm like, oh, pardon.
Right, so fair play. It's awesome. Them having those language skills, mega. We're gonna touch on a number of clubs you played for. I've actually been up to Llangefni, seen the crew up there, and like what a warm club, what an amazing club, right? But if you kind of connect George as a young boy playing for Llangefni and the George now in south of France, what one bit of advice would you give yourself back then?
I probably would have said enjoy it more.
Interesting, yeah.
I think having just finished my book now, you start going back, and I don't know, I was quite busy for a lot of my career.
Yeah.
And it's always the next thing, you know, the next thing, you know, you play a campaign, you're back in with the club, it's Europe, you're back in for Six Nations, you're there flat out, you're back then, and, you know, did some amazing things along the way, and I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. You enjoy it in the moment, but then quite quickly you realise it's on to the next job. And I think after, you know, almost 16, almost 17 years.
Hell of a career you've had, mate. I know you're still in it, but
yeah,
like, wow.
it's, I'm not tapping the table, but touch wood.
Yeah, there we go.
And I don't think I enjoyed it as much, some aspects as I should. And I think if I was talking to me back in Llangefni days, I'd probably say, look, take the rough for the smooth, enjoy the ride, enjoy the highs, and smile at the lows, because they are worth it, and they mold you. They give you the foundation and the strength. So I've always played. I tried to play with a smile on my face, and I think that's what I'll always probably try and reiterate to the younger generation coming through now is like, enjoy it, because it goes, next thing you know, you blink, you fart, and you're 34, like, do you know what I mean? Almost 34. So yeah,
do you
not
know
at the same time, because that's dangerous.
Yeah, well, you probably do it at 34.
Yeah, I'm 33 actually. I'm 34 in April.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. So
yeah, don't put years on yourself.
It's a tough day so far.
Do you know what? When I was kind of researching or looking back through your career ahead of this conversation, like it blew me away, like actually how young you still are, because you started so young. You've had a hell of a career, right? You think, actually, George, you should be like 50 or something like that.
I feel 50.
but like wow, when did you get first cap? You were
18, yeah.
Back in 2010, was it?
Yeah, 2010. Wow. Yeah, it's been. It doesn't feel like, you probably the same. It doesn't feel like
it goes so quick.
Yeah, it's like, was it 15, 16 years now, and it's like, when you're in it, like you're in it, doing you're in it, and it's such a busy lifestyle as a pro rugby player. You know, people say you got to plan for the future. You got to keep, you know, it's a short career, and I'm like, it's always in your back of your mind. But then you always have to be very aware that you got to be in the moment. You got to be the best you can be every day, because that's what keeps you in that career. So it's
so competitive. I mean, you know, your trajectory was maybe slightly different to mine, but I was always terrified of losing my spot or not getting picked, or, you know, your contracts are 2 or 3 years, so it's so secular that you're constantly on it, aren't you?
Yeah, you have to be. And the nature of the beast is, you know, as I was always the youngest and was the youngest for many years, there's always someone younger come in. You know, there's people, you know, the game now is like, it's bigger, faster, stronger. You know, it's more powerful. Your boys are doing more than ever, and you go in, if I'm not at that standard on my money, on the metal every day, I'm gonna fade away. And like you said, that jersey, you know, you only really pass through a Welsh jersey, and I love that theory, but I was going to hold on to it, because I'm not going to pass off it on many times, and that was always what drove me, is that is my jersey for now, and then when the time is right, then it'll be someone else's, but for now, hands off, like, or please, hands off.
Yeah. Can you remember that first cap?
Yeah, it was a bit clean off, wasn't it, really? It was all a bit of a
whirlwind.
You
scored 2 tries, didn't you?
Yeah, South Africa.
That was my first cap. Different game, obviously, but my
did
first
you score
cap
2 tries as well?
No. Well, my career.
Career. I don't know. It was just a the only way I can describe it is very Welsh. It's just clean off. You know, you think. So I was in the SCARSA, setup. I was on what was called like a development contract,
Wow.
which essentially
So I
is,
didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like full pro contract without
course,
the money.
Yeah,
so, so it was like really good.
Child labour there.
Yeah, essentially. So like I was kind of like transitioning from like academy into senior rugby. So basically, I would still train full time with the academy, still do like the age grade stuff, but I train with the pros as well. And that, for me, that was like Christmas.
Yeah.
I think the worst day of my life at that point was having to ring Nigel Davis at the time because my A levels finished on the Monday and pre-season started on the Monday, and I'm like, oh, this is like. I rang my old man. I was like, what do I do now? He's like, just ring him. And I was like, I can't just ring him. He's like, well, how's he gonna know? And I'm like, oh, I'd best ring him. And then he said, yeah, don't worry about it. And then I start on the Tuesday, and then fast forward one pre-season, a few injuries, Stods and Lord Sean Lamont came back from Wales, and Lord, they come back from Scotland, and Wales summer tour's injured. Next thing you know, like I'm playing out in Treviso, and then hop, skip, and a jump. It was 5 or 6 games, and then
first cap.
And it was just, I don't know. In my mind, I always wanted to play for Wales. That was the be all and end all. The short and curlies of it. It was like 3 feathers. That's for me. And I thought that my journey would be a bit longer, but when it presented itself, I was like, well,
you got to grab it.
Bugger it, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go full fat milk into it, and then
Were
see
you
what
nervous?
comes.
Like, you remember feeling nerves around it all?
Yeah, I do remember being really nervous, but I remember being more nervous at the start of the week when they announced my name, and then I was like, holy. I can't swear.
You can say shit, sorry.
Okay, shitballs. And I rang my mum, and she thought I was taking the Michael, which 99% of the time I am. And then I rang my dad, and he was like, brilliant. Yeah. And that's when it hit me, because like they are like my constant, my mum and dad. Obviously now I've got Becky, but at the part of my career, my mum and dad were my everything, and they were my focus, and they were part of my journey. And to tell them that was like incredible. And then I went, oh, I got to play now, and but then I don't know. I took great. Like I worked with Andy McCann, it's like really big, really big part of my career, and quite quickly realised that nerves, anxiety is more about like I don't know. It's like it's part of it, and it's like it's a part of the journey, and it's more you're apprehensive about what's to come, and you're excited, and I think that mindset and that working with him. And I just remember doing captain's in the stadium, which is by far my favourite part of the week, because empty stadium, just you and the boys there. You can hear the pigeons flapping, and I just remember looking around and just going like, these guys are my heroes, and I'm going next to them, and I took great comfort in that. And then you fast forward, and I was pup scared, but but then once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? There's no point like sucking them in. You got to get on with it, and people like Stephen Jones. Like obviously a legend of Welsh rugby, probably didn't get enough credit in my opinion. He was unreal, and people see that. But for me, he was
even
incredible
as a player.
But like he was good with me at the Scarlets. Shane was unreal with me. All the boys were Mike, Philsey. Those boys were just incredible for me, and I took great comfort. I said I don't think you get any comfort from facing South Africa, but I took what I could from those boys, because they looked at me like one of them. I was only 18, but I was like, wow,
it's wild.
That's rock and roll. Like.
Yeah, wild. And it was a hell of a debut as well.
Yeah, we almost won that. Was it? It's like 27, 29.
It was a hell of a
game.
Yeah. The reason why I ask is because it took me a lot longer to change my relationship with like anxiety or fear. I look back at my career, and actually I feel like I wasted so much time, because I was always like shitting myself, always scared. And when I look at players like you and some of the younger players coming through now, they have so much swagger and confidence. I kind of think like, are they as nervous as I was? Like, is it real or is it just in my head?
I think the current crop are a different breed again.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever like arrogant. I was always excited, nervous, apprehensive, but for me, I think I was kind of drunk on the elixir of youth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a hell of a sentence, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drunk on a-
Yeah, no, I get it.
might
No, I
trademark that
absolutely
one.
get it, yeah.
But I was just so incredibly excited to be there. Like, this is my dream, like every boy's dream. I was so incredibly honored to be in that position. And if someone said, George, do this, I'm like, yeah, it's the best day ever.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's been times, and even now you get nervous for games, but you learn to cope with it. And like I said, Andy McCann was a big help for me at the start of my career. And you learn, as you probably well know, in anything you do, you learn a strategy, you learn when you need to kind of get yourself a bit more pumped, you need to pull back a bit, and that ebbs and flows throughout your whole career.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing that when you speak to someone that's not been an elite sport or that like pointy end of the stick, and you try and explain it, they go, oh, I understand. But then, like, say if I speak to you and I go, and then you go, I get it.
Yeah.
Then I know you get it because you've been at that pointy end. And it's such a weird one, and it's so individual because you see some boys. I looked at some boys in the change room. I'm like, how are you like singing and dancing and smiling for a game? And I'm like trying to make my last little notes and trying to count how many fingers I've got to keep me on my. And then it's like,
well, Chav always blew my mind. My first cab, I played with Chav, and he was literally almost asleep.
Yeah.
Before I'm like, excuse me, we've got a game now. I'm like absolutely bricking it.
You want to tie those boots up, but
yeah. It's horses for courses, right?
Yeah, it's and that's the bit that very lucky that at the elite level you see what other people do, and you kind of you don't copy, but you're trying to get your flow alongside it and understand.
You learn from osmosis, don't you? Like I think that's the one thing that we have in sport that you don't have in like a corporate environment is that kind of. Especially now with kind of remote and hybrid working, you don't have that time just to watch somebody and you know.
I was like the years I came through, I was very lucky. You know, I was kind of on my own for the first couple of seasons, and then you think the likes of like Warbs, Lids, Talupe, Lloyd Williams, Scotty Wills.
It's a hell of an era for Welsh rugby. I mean, it's a strong time, right?
Yeah, and you think. I was just very fortunate to be part of that, and at that point we had an unreal crop, you know, like Foxy coming through as well. These guys that really kind of were the bulk for a long time and were able to just compete at that level constantly. And then you just know what each other are going to do, and that I think you take a lot of comfort from that as well.
Because even though we're talking about the national side, because there was such consistency during that period, it was really obvious that the bond and the camaraderie and the connection that you guys had. How has Parenthood changed your relationship with pro sport?
It was a different world.
In what way? Like, tell me about it. I think I have insight, but I'd be really interested to hear yours.
For me personally, to get to a level of sport, you have to be selfish.
Yeah.
There is that's common knowledge. You've got to be selfish. And it kind of, you know, I met my now wife at the time, you know, Becky, she's going her own cycling, you know, incredible career.
Absolute legend of Welsh sport, right?
Yeah. You'd argue, you know, but we do argue. No, you'd argue who's the better sports person, and inevitably the Olympic card gets, you know, brought out, and I'm like,
yeah, it's a good card.
yeah. Anyway, I digress. Let's delete that bit. And we were both fortunate. We were very good for each other in the sense that we understood what was going on, our own pressures. You know, we come together, but we also on our own timetable, so we could even actually have that relationship, but also both be quite selfish within it, and it worked. It was difficult because we did the opposite. We went long distance, then together, rather than together, then long distance.
I understand that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's made sense. And it was incredible.
Because Becky would have been in the Olympic program.
She was the whole time. She was in Manchester.
Is that where she was based?
Yeah,
Manchester.
Yeah. Then I was in obviously with the Scarlets and Llangefni. Then I went to Northampton.
Yes.
Which obviously amazing move, but actually logistically it was a lot closer.
So strange that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get onto that.
And but now we have the boys, and it's a mental leveler.
Yeah, it is.
Like you go to work, and I think anyone that has kids, you go to work. You know what was important is still very much important, but it's not the be-all and end-all.
Yeah.
I quickly realised from a younger age, actually before kids, that it's part of my sort of dealing with nerves and the strategy behind me performing was, you take the crowd away, you take the sponsorship, the cameras, everything. You're just 15 blokes on a pitch against another 15 blokes, and that's what gave me a bit of comfort and a sigh to sort of relax into it.
Yeah.
But now, you know, you have a hard day at training, your body's in bits, you do the school pickup, and it's like Christmas morning, I haven't seen you only for a few hours. Like, Daddy, I'm like, goes away.
Yeah.
And the bit that is funny, obviously, my kids are 5.5 and 4. People ask for a picture, and they just think it's normal to stand with Daddy have a picture, because they think it's
they're the rock stars, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, I think they think it's more that it's Daddy's friend, so they have a picture, and I'm like, oh no, don't worry. And not to push them away, and they don't. And I think that it's just so different, and what is you think is important in terms of, you know, delivering sleep, recovery is all very important to perform, but in the grand scheme of things, like happy head, happy body, you know, and then when your top 3 inches are happy and content, then the rest of you will follow. And some of the stuff they come out with about like why, because obviously why Daddy plays rugby for a job, and I'll try to explain that. And obviously good friends with Gare.
Yeah.
So why does Maxie's dad ride a bike for a job, Dad? And it's like, well, that's 2 very difficult answers actually, because it's kind of like a job, and then they have to do it, and then they ask about like my mates, but their daddies do sport. I'm like, yeah, this is not a good example of real job, is it? But for me, the boys have been incredible. Just the age they are now, they got so many questions. Why? What's this, Daddy? And for me, it kind of I thought, and I still think that it's given me another gear. You know, just be able to process things on the fly in the game. You know, realizing that right, it's gone, not important, next job. And I think that was a big thing for me. But just
that's really interesting, because like Parenthood is epic, right? Like I'm in the same boat as you. My son's 7, and you know, meeting Joe and having Fred is just the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. Like, it's just an absolute blessing. But like, life's relentless, isn't it? Like you can have a plan, but that plan is never going to go according. Yeah, exactly.
Full gas.
Yeah. So actually, I hadn't really thought about that, but that's an incredible skill that it gives you that you can transfer into sport.
Well, it's kind of, ideally it doesn't mess up and we do it right the first time. Do you know what I mean? The rugby now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, I think again that's dealing with elite level sport. Is you go, right, that's call it, doesn't work, might move on. And the same with the kids, right? Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's only spilt milk, don't worry, literally. Or I've got covered in mud. I'm like, don't worry about it. It is what it is. I've got a spare pair of trousers. Like, do you mean? Otherwise, you're like, wow, I've got to leave in 10 minutes. What are you doing? Like, sit still. Like Becky's support and the boys' support is just, it's been incredible. And to have this experience has just been out here in France. It's been a bit unreal, to be honest. So,
do you think the boys will play rugby?
Well, apart from my youngest thinks football is rugby. So you think, I want to play.
Just picking a ball up and running around with a round ball.
Yeah, I want to play rugby, Dad, but he's kicking it. I'm like,
well, it's kind of handball, but not kicking it, but playing with that.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, we need to work on this. Will they play rugby? I don't know.
No.
Do I want them to play rugby? I want them to play rugby, not because I played. I want them to play rugby for what it's given me in terms of like life skills and you know, respect and belief, you know, all the things that rugby gives you from you know, I learned this from Grassroots. And I want them to experience that, not again because I played, because you know, like the skills it gives you, you know, communication, teamwork, goal setting, overcoming problems, friendships, you know, and for me that's what I would want them to have. But inevitably, I know as soon as they go into a rugby field, they're like, and the same with if they love they're obsessed with bikes at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's good until you realise until what Mum did. But again, if they're happy, that's all that really matters. And,
absolutely.
But I do think some sort of sport, whether it's cycling, rugby, or any other sport, it gives you foundations that you can't really get anywhere else. And I think you've probably seen it when you've gone more into like away from sport into a bit of the corporate with you know, leader and all that stuff. You talk about some things and they don't get it.
Yeah.
They find it really strange.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
or we take things for granted that like are really insightful or valuable outside of sport.
Yeah, exactly. And that for me is something that I think is important to have.
Do you know, it's really interesting that you talk about like what rugby gives you, because I recently did an event and Ellis Jenkins, the former player, asked me a question and I thought it was a cracker. So I'm going to steal his line. I'm going to ask you the same question.
I was thinking, have I got a question for you? I was like, I'm not ready. You didn't prep me or anything. I don't know.
No, honestly, a really good question. He asked me like what skills or what has rugby given me that is valuable in life after rugby? And he probably phrased it much better than that.
I think he did.
He did, yeah. But my answer was a bit of a curveball, but my answer was, well, first thing, being a contact sport, it's given me comfort in being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which actually is quite a big deal, I think, in life. Whatever you do, if you want to succeed, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable from time to time. And the second thing was conflict resolution. Like, the amount of arguments you have, strong personalities, on and off the field, but around the game, but being able to be respectful and shake hands and be mates after the game, like that's a big thing, especially in today's society. Yeah. So my question to you is, I know the chapter's not over, it's not finished, but what has rugby given you that you have taken into life outside of rugby?
It's given me a resilience.
Oh, do you know, I was going to say resilience.
It's given me something inside me, and I mentioned this. I mentioned this to Gats when I snapped my Achilles in my last game, and I ended up having a few pints with like the coaches, like because it was probably the last one still at that point going, and I said, "There's something in me that over a long time rugby's given me, but those have honed the skills, like that era of coaches, and it's a resilience that I can't ever turn off, and it gives you the ability, like you said, to take the physical, physical blows. You have to get up, keep moving. That is what it is. You get used to that. You can move. You can always move. Sean Edwards, you're never injured in defence. The resilience to, when it's mentally on you, the pressure, you can just go, right, take a second, suck it in. Yeah. Take a few big breaths. Yeah. Let's process it. Let's break this down. And that resilience to sort of just keep moving. And I think the big one for me is ownership, whether it's right or wrong.
That's a great answer.
You have to own everything you do, and I think rugby has given me this big belief that accountability is huge in everything you do. You have, in any situation, I think for me, you have the best wishes and the intent to do it right and do it perfect. The idea is right. I guess the outcome might not go the way, but the outcome is right. But whether it's right or wrong, you have the ability to shoulder that and go, that's on me. And I see it more now with the younger guys coming through. They don't know that skill. They haven't understood that one. And I notice it more outside of rugby when people, talk about a little bit of business. They don't, accountability is huge.
It's a great answer.
And I think if you to summarize that's what I got out of rugby.
Do you know what? Resilience is something, resilience absolutely is a word that I would use for your career, because, having been a fan and watched your career, obviously, we played at different times in the game. You've been in the cauldron at test level, and I want to talk about some of the big games, some really iconic moments, but also you've been in the cauldron of like public, conversation, particularly around the move from Scarlets to Northampton, which you kind of got caught up in a challenging time in Welsh rugby. And then was it 2013, 2014? You had a period of concussion injuries that was a real challenge because you were doing that in the public eye as well. Hey, diolch. Thanks for listening. I'm Richard Parks, and stay tuned for more Beyond the Breakdown. But give me a minute to share why I'm doing this. So many of us are worried about the future of Welsh rugby. There's so much noise around the game in Wales at the moment, yet nobody seems to be talking enough about what makes our game tick, our clubs. Without our local rugby clubs, there is no game in Wales. At the heart of our community so often sit our clubs, places where we go to play, celebrate, mourn, or just be there for one another. Yet I've spoken to clubs that are struggling to heat their showers because they can't afford their energy bills, and extreme weather is causing games to be called off up and down Wales. Life's hard enough as it is at the moment, and so many of us just don't have the headspace to engage with climate. But I want my son and all our children to inherit a Wales and a world that's as beautiful as the one that we were given. And that's why I'm proud to partner with Round Our Way on this podcast series. Round Our Way is an organisation that supports people who've been impacted by climate change, lifting people's voices so that they're heard. Let's listen to some of those voices now.
Our club has grown over the past few years from holding or having just 3 junior teams, and we've now got 10 junior teams, which involves 350 kids. And without a rugby club like this, what are they going to do? Where are they going to go?
And that's what I love about rugby. You know, it's kind of on the pitch, but off the pitch, you can still be really, really good buddies. And discipline and respect, you know, these kinds of skills that they pick up that are so important for their overall development, not just within sport, but as part of their life skills. You know, the respect in rugby is fantastic. The fact that the referee is, you know, has a huge amount of respect, and that the rules, you know, are extremely important. It's important you respect the rules, and that's carried off the pitch as well as on the pitch, which I think doesn't happen with all sports.
It's a fantastic club. People here are fantastic. If you want support, it's here in all aspects of life. And there's a lot of friendships being made, home and from opposing teams. And I think it's a great sport to be involved in. There's nothing like it.
You've seen the club. It's a Saturday. We've got the seniors at home. We've got 21 teams at this club. So there is a team in every age group, from 6s through to 16s. We've got youth, we've got women, we've got the Monstars pathways. The volume coming through this club is phenomenal. So we need bigger pitches, better pitches, 3G, bigger clubhouse. And I think, yeah, just more help in actually executing that dream. So if anybody wants to help us, that'd be great. Thanks very much.
You can hear more from these amazing people and delve more into the background on each episode of the podcast at www.beyondthebreakdown.org or on my Insta. Now let's get back to the podcast. Let's start with 2014.
Yeah.
The one thing that really struck me about that time was, in my own experience, when my career ended, I tore the cartilage out of my shoulder. And the big challenge for me in that transition was identity. Like, I had always seen myself as Richard Parks, the rugby player. You know, my body had always been my tool. So when my body broke, the psychology of that, it was almost like my identity broke, I broke. And that's been a journey for me through this later chapter of my life. But it really dawned on me that you could have had a similar experience while still playing. How tough was that period for you?
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
And I say it with a smile because I've got a weird way of dealing with trauma.
I can see the pain in your eyes. I can see it.
Between that season, 14-15 was probably one of the ones where I was close to jacking it in. I had many conversations about ripping the handbrake up, and it's one of those ones where it's hard to describe it. And you've been through it, so you know, you understand. But a shoulder will take a while, but it will heal.
Yeah.
A knee will heal. A hamstring tear will heal. But when it comes to your head, there's only one. And that's where a lot of my, and obviously the people talking, and it becomes, like you said, there's a lot more going on than you think.
Yes. What's
important, and what I had to keep coming back to, was what was true to me and what I wanted to be and who I was. And I didn't hide it at all. I didn't shy away from it. I thought it was important to be it, to own it, which is harder and it sounds more heroic than at the time, because at one point I didn't want to leave the house.
I can believe it. I'm really sorry, but I can believe it.
No, it's all right. I don't know if that's the right thing to say now. It is now, but the whole point on that point in my career was the early part of my career taught me about what rugby gives you, from grassroots, and then you hone your skills, you hone your ability physically. But that first part of my international career was about how you create yourself, mind and body in one, because obviously, and that ability to process very quickly, process hard stuff, process good stuff, put them in a box, understand them, use them as fuel if you needed them, take them away, delete them if you needed to. And that was the hardest point, because everything I was trying to do to protect myself in terms of seeing the right people, medically, I was seeing the experts, I was trusting everything, the people I trusted in for years, they were guiding me. And that's all I could do was be guided by them. I had the utmost trust in, the medical team at WRU, I had the utmost trust in the medical team at Northampton, and we're seeing the right people. And it even got to a point where the person we thought was the right person, not through his own fault, was so specialist that he probably wasn't the right guy for me. So then we went looking elsewhere, and we found Prof Belly out of Birmingham, and he was a big changer for me, a really big changer. And when you speak to someone that's so in their field and is so good at their job,
it's inspirational.
You sit back and you're like he could tell you absolute, like Coswaller. But when you ask him questions, he's like, I've seen this. I've been through it.
Did that give you hope?
I never lost hope in myself.
Okay.
And it got to a point where a lot of it was all external. The pressure was all external. I was walking around like Tesco's and someone said, I heard you retired. And I'm like,
oh, that's hard.
And I'm
that
like, well,
hard.
I haven't.
Yeah.
But then once I found, Prof, and this is the scary thing, I think, is that it's a lot of pressure all the time. Everyone sees you, you went through each shoulder, how's the shoulder? And it always cracks you.
The difference is you were in the goal for sure. Your recovery was public as much as your career.
Yeah. So if I process it if I give it to like this, then so basically I found the right guy. I'm looking after myself before that. Went did all the experts, trusted in the right people. Then I found the right guy. He gave me a plan, a process. From day dot, when I spoke to Prof Belly, I said to him, at any point in this, if we see a decline in my mental and cognitive function, I'll walk away. Like this game.
So you had your red line in the sand.
I already said to him, from day dot to my mother and my father, I said them to the same. I was like, Mum and Dad, I was like, if it gets to this point where they're saying like there's been a little bit of signs, we're not too sure, even that unsure bit, I'm like, I'm walking away, because as a human, your person is more important than a game.
Yeah.
I had the support of Becky, my family, like I said, they were incredible. And then you have a plan and you sort of stick to it. Inevitably, every time someone had a whack to the head and what have you, my name gets drawn through again, even if I'm nothing to do with it. I went away on holiday. I think me and Becky went away, and someone got knocked out on the weekend. A whole article is like about his injury, but then it brought my stuff back through.
Yeah.
So it was constantly feeding it and going round and going round. And then I ended up, I was back playing off the advice of Prof Belly. I was told like we would do 6 months no contact, a longer return to play. It was exactly what was needed for me, and I was able to process it. And I think that was good. When I say about resilience and accountability, is understanding the responsibility I had for myself first and foremost. The resilience to keep going when everyone was like telling me you should never go. You got doctors writing reports and articles who have never seen me, treated me, understand my history, and I don't know. I think that was my hardest part of my career, but it kind of gave me the biggest tools for my life, if that makes sense. The skills and
adversity's like that.
It's such a weird one. And look, I got back playing, and we sat there, and I said to Prof, I was like, what the likelihood I'm going to have another knock? And he was like, like it's quite scary, and I think it's one every weekend, or it's crazy now. And the shining light I took from that was, yes, I got back playing, which was always my big driver, get back playing. But I am now, like I was at that point, I was a weird poster boy for concussion. And I'd much rather, and I said this in my book, I'd much rather be a poster boy for Calvin Klein than concussion. I got the wrong C and ended up with a whole load more rubbish. But or anything, in fact, anything. Anyway, so I
Gone optimistic with pants there. We can,
well, you know,
gloves or hats there.
you know, South of France kiss, turtless like suntan.
Do you know, I hadn't considered that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's hard.
and I guess the shining light for me, was the understanding and how much it's raised awareness around concussion and how important it is, and the advancement in like the return to play stuff, the pre-game stuff. You know, you do all your cognitive function stuff, and it's brought to a point now where it's a whole world better, but it can always improve with the game. So that's how I process it. It was a bit very poo.
Yeah.
But it's given me some amazing skills, and it's kind of reinforced what I knew about myself. But it's also highlighted to a point, you know, it's got to a point where it is now, and obviously it's much, much better. And, you know, there's like aftercare now for post players that can go back after all the years. And for me, you know, I would, at the time, like I said, I trusted the medical team. I had the best medical team in Northampton, best in WRU. So I found the best guy, and there was never any doubt. It was just that I had to find the right people.
And you had to do it on your terms.
Well, and I actually did. I was actually back playing probably 2-3 years, and I did this charity dinner, and I did a Q&A. And obviously, inevitably, the concussion chat comes up, and I was like, brilliant. No one briefed them saying there's no concussion questions. Anyway, and I said the same thing. It was a bit more punchy because I wasn't too happy to talk about it at that point. And I explained that now, since then, I actually spoke with Prof Belly, and I said, look, I'd like to see you regular. So he agreed. He said, yeah, of course you can. So I would see him at the start of the season, midway, and end of season. And we did that for the first like 3-4 years. Then it went to the start and end of season for the next like 4 years. And now I check in like once a year with him. And whenever I'm unsure, I drop him a message, we have a call, and it kind of settles me down. And I've even like referred boys that I'm an R in that have reached out to me that I either know really well or I've never met before. They've reached through social media and stuff, or I've had this whack, and I'm like, right, speak to this guy, 100%. And they were like, oh, why are you seeing him if you're not worried about it? Why do you keep seeing him? And I'm like, well, like anything, it's like monitoring.
Yeah, it is.
During this like an MOT almost.
Yeah,
it's like making sure that, and you know, I go to Birmingham and I see him, and like he's become a real confidant for me, and a lot of people around me as well. So yeah, it was a kind of shitty time, but I kind of think it kind of made me strong as a person throughout the back of it.
George, I'm really grateful you shared that, and thank you. And of course, I wouldn't wish that on you, that period again. I have to say though, you know, the courage that you showed and the composure that you showed during that period was inspirational.
Cheers.
You know, there are a lot of people, older, younger, you know, that looked up to you and continue to look up to you in Welsh rugby. And when, particularly men, when a man of the profile that you had at the time shows vulnerability, it's incredibly powerful. It gives everyone else permission to be vulnerable and to have their own journey through whatever they're experiencing. Yeah. So, diolch yn fawr iawn. I know that's maybe
3 languages.
What was it? What do you love about rugby? Like, what kept you in that time? You know, and what continues to drive you now out here in Provence, you know, into your 30s? What do you love about the game?
It's the child in me, I think. I had this nickname in Northampton. It was the man child. Again, from my mate Alex Waller. He's size of a man, but the brain of a child. I don't know. I enjoy the competition.
Yeah.
I enjoy the camaraderies, the battles. I enjoy the changing rooms.
Yeah.
I enjoy...
That's the only thing I miss, I think.
Yeah, I enjoy the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
And at this point in my career now, especially with like some of the academy boys here, the Espoir boys, I enjoy kind of helping. And I'm saying like, okay, well, you played, you know, what was good, what was bad. Oh, I thought this was good. Show me. And I'm like, okay, well, let me show you how I would have done it. And then we go from there. And that for me, that family feel from day dot is something that keeps driving me and is very important. And you know, that, yeah, I don't know. It's just that sport is it gives me is the freedom for me. And that is a big driver, you know. It's just that point where for 80 minutes you got no phone.
Yeah.
You've got more people shouting at you than normal rather than Jack, Tommy and Becky. But it's that freedom and it's just expression of yourself, you know.
There is something wonderful about being at a point in your career where you have the privilege to give back or to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And I had that experience recently as a volunteer coach.
Yeah.
You know, my son went along to junior rugby because his mate played and he wanted to go and hang out with his mate. I was kind of stood on the touchline, and I'm sure it'll happen to you. You know, next thing you know, you kind of get roped in, and 2 years later, you know, I'm one of 5 volunteer coaches for Llandaff Under 8s, and I love it. But it, you know, the game has given us so much. When you see it through the eyes of young people, whether that's young players, adult players, or under 8s, you know, it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Can you remember your time at Llangefni? Can you remember, like, just starting out in the game, like, you know, Gogledd Cymru under 16s? You know, can you remember that time?
I can, with fond memories.
Yeah.
My rugby career started as a jealous brother. My brother went down with a few friends to Llangefni, and he came back and he was like, "This is class," and I was like, "I want to try some." And I just remember, I think because of where we were, Anglesey football country, you know, we didn't have huge numbers. We never really could get a full 15 together. We borrow a few players. We ended up training with 12 or 11.
Yeah.
And for me, that's where I learned my biggest core values in rugby, you know, at that level, you know, coming together, rain or shine, working hard, enjoying it, talking to each other, you know, developing those skills at that level kind of gave me the foundation to go, this is what I really want to do. And from a young age, I would tell my mum that I want to be a professional rugby player.
Really?
Yeah, because that's all I wanted to do. Because for me, it was the biggest part and the best part of everything. My weekend, you know, my week would be thinking about the weekend, and my weekend was like, right, how can I get better next week for the next weekend? And for me, I was very lucky that whole time with the coaches and the support I had. But that's, you know, like I touched on it earlier with my boys playing rugby, those skills and the core values of grassroots is kind of super important for day-to-day life and, you know, day-to-day living, I think.
Who did you look up to when you were playing? Because Robin McBride came from Llangefni, didn't? Is that right?
Yeah, well, Bangor, Llangefni
okay,
Bangor,
yeah.
He picks and chooses all the kids. Mucker's obviously an era well before mine, and a completely wrong position. And I remember a big hero of mine, so when I looked up to, was always Shane Williams. For so many kids my area, you know, my age, the excitement on the late and great Eddie Butler's voice when he would on the TV would be Shane Williams, and I'm like, I'm there with him. And the legend of dear Eddie was amazing. And when Shane would go on the ball and the excitement you'd see around you, but in the stadium and what it brought, I'm like, I'd love to be able to have a slice of that and be able to give that back to someone else. And then, you know, because it's at that point, there wasn't, technically we're in the Scarlets region, but there wasn't much of a push. It was all M4 corridor. So I didn't really have a team growing up. You know, people said, was it Sale because it's closer? Again, I went to watch them, but I didn't have an affiliation with them. And again, the Scarlets and the south, the regions as such, because it's too far away. And all I loved my club and I loved my country. And that was the two ones I loved watching and being part of, because that's what I could feel and see and touch and do. You know, and that was, for me, there was never really anyone I looked up to really as such like that. It was always like Shane Williams, and then as I got more into it and reading and watching videos, obviously playing John Olomu, obviously a huge, many people's hero. I've gutted and never got to meet him because he was such an amazing man and a legend of rugby. And you sort of, you know, you go on your journey, and then as I got a little bit older and realizing what like elite sport is, Johnny Wilkinson was a huge hero of mine. I watched that video sitting with him and Steve Black.
Oh yeah,
He was on YouTube, or
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
on a video when he was at Newcastle, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, if that's what you got to do every day, and that's a slice of me. That is, how do I get that?
Yeah.
And that was, those guys that you won't necessarily, a guy from North Wales wouldn't pick those three as such, but they were kind of like my barometer, my guide, I guess, of
Yeah.
how you should, the excitement that one gives, the effect that one has, and the way one goes about his work kind of gave me that.
The thing, when I visited Llangefni, the thing that really struck me about the club was it is so rooted in the community. I mean, I know I've visited a number of clubs and we talk about local clubs, and every club is rooted in their community, but it felt a bit different in Llangefni. I think maybe because it was on Ynys Môn, it was on the island, you know.
My island.
My island, yeah. Like there was something really tangible about it, and I don't want to get catastrophic here, but do you ever reflect on what the future looks like for Llangefni and clubs in the north, and whether the next George North, will have a home, will have a pathway through rugby?
I think when you're going through it, I had no doubt that I wanted to be playing rugby professional. Did I think it was possible? There was always an element of doubt. And, thank God the coaches and my dad driving me up and down the lengths and breadths of Wales for so many years. There was one point when I had just started and playing professional and I thought, like, I managed to get to this level, and I was like, geez, that was hard, and I'm only at the bottom of the pile now. I got so much more to go. And then you saw the development at AUS Park up in, and then obviously RGC, and I'm like, well, I got a lot more confidence now, and I think there is a bit more of a system and a structure for younger players to get into and develop and adapt. And I don't know if you've seen the facilities there. It's unreal.
Yeah.
It's what they've done there. Incredible. It's been incredible. And I remember doing. Steve Rickards was my S&C coach and a legend, and he's ex-forces. He had the standard Royal Air Force moustache like my dad did, and he was unreal for me as an S&C coach from a young age. We trained out of the Bangor University, not even their main gym, but kind of like their sports hall backup gym.
Yeah.
And we made it work, and I looked at those facilities and I was like, well, this is better than I had back home. And then you see that, then I go into the Scouts Academy and I see brand new, like Parker Scouts at the time, their gym. I'm like, whoa, geez, going from that to that, like what more is there? And you go from there to then the Vale, and what the Vale have got now, I'm going, there's holy shit balls again. It's like, and now there's that system. And, the academy is a lot more proactive up in North Wales. I hear a lot more boys going across the border, and like that sailor coming across, and so rightly so, and I have a bit more confidence now that, what players are there, they will be picked up. And you've probably seen it, and you've been through it. There's guys that have all the potential, but they're given all the opportunity, but sometimes, more importantly, it's just down to them, whether they go. And I think we've lost a lot of talent on the way because maybe they didn't quite get what they needed to at the time. Then they had a half a chance, and then it's like, I'd rather go out and get a real job, and I hope
that rugby's not a real job.
Yeah, rugby's a real job. I have office hours. And I think it's incredibly important that you try not, especially with Wales being such a small country, you can't let any of the maybes not have an opportunity to shine.
The thing that I reflected on driving back down from my time up north, and I love North Wales, Eryri, but particularly, was it's kind of got like a double threat up there, and I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on this. I'm not sure if there's going to be a question at the end of it, right? But you've got the talent drain, you've got players that want to play the rugby up north that might not make it into that system, that might not have heroes, or they've got you know what I mean, that they might not have the pathway that somebody growing up on the M4 corridor might have. But equally up north, particularly, you've got the triple threat of climate as well. The impact that not just increased severity of storms and consistency of like rain and flooded pitches. I was reading somewhere that 20% of the games last year were cancelled, were called off because of waterlogged pitches, and that's got an impact not just on the young boys and girls, but you know, the commerciality of the clubs, you know, the infrastructure of the town. So, like North Wales Rugby and the local clubs has, like, it's under threat. I feel, well, I kind of drove home thinking, oh my gosh, that I was quite worried about that. Like, do you ever reflect on that?
I do, and it's weird because you assume the joke is you're from Wales, so it must rain all the time. And I get that a lot here. And whenever it rains in X, they go, "You've brought this with you." And I'm like, "It's one day of rain in the year." I think thinking back about it now, I guess from a younger age, you don't really notice it, do you? Because it did rain a lot, and I remember we would always. I don't know how far you went in Llangefni. Did you just see? Did you go walk the pitches or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
did you see the cabbage patch at the bottom?
I did. Well, is that by the containers, but by the
Further
scrummage
past
machine?
that, yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't go around the past containers.
So we
no.
kind of like there's 1, 2, and then there's a bit at the bottom.
Yeah.
And we would always train there, and that was always like up to your elbow in mud, and you don't really notice it. And obviously, as you play more, you understand it, and it's. I didn't realize it was 20% was because of that's a nut stat, that, isn't it?
It's wild. And we've had this September, Wales has had over 170% of the normal rainfall.
That's unreal.
That are December, not September, December.
Yeah. I didn't realize that, but now you highlight it. Thinking back to when I was in Llangefni, I spent more time in mud than I did in the green grass, to be honest. And that's scary that, you know, you talk about the routes for players from North Wales if they're not playing. And that was a big part. Like I was allowed to play games here and there to be in the shop window. But if they're getting called off, you know, that's all the time. It's like, and are they getting the opportunity to play? Probably not, because if they're getting cancelled 20% of the time, it's not great.
And times have changed now because young boys and girls, there's so much more on offer. So you only need to lose 2 weekends, and the third weekend they're like, oh, I'll do something else, you know, something that's consistent, whether it's a different sport or completely away from sport.
Yeah, it's like gaming and stuff, and it's scary to think that, you know, and you know, it's a different climate here in the south of France, different problems, but you know, for North Wales, it's a big part of my life and somewhere that's very close to my heart. It's sad to think that.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised how cold it is here. Like, what's the temperature like range down here?
Well, yesterday it was like -5, 6-ish. But then in the summer you get in, you know, over 40 degrees down here. I remember when I first joined last season, my first season, I drove with the dogs. Into the Becky one. How are we getting the dogs out to France? I'll drive them. Yeah. I left Cardiff at 14 degrees, overcast, a bit grey. Yeah. And I arrived here, it was 39 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, holy moly. And the poor dogs didn't know what to do, like, bless them. But yeah, and it's the extreme here is very different. You know, you get the cold, and then you get the hot, and then like you said about wildfires. But yeah, they're not a fan of rain here.
It must be the point in my life. I know I'm older than you, but the kind of the process of having the opportunity to write a biography, the process of being a parent, you know, I'm at a point of reflecting and kind of thinking about the world that my son, your son, our kids are going to inherit. And, you know, part of that is looking through the lens of what game are they going to inherit, like the state of the game. And I know it's a very different challenge here than it is in Wales. But what's becoming really clear is just the intersection between the impact of social challenges like, you know, the cost of living crisis and, you know, the impact of climate change and how that intersects the world that our kids are going to inherit. And it's really given me pause for thought.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you kind of live a naive world, don't you? And it's only when I become a dad and you're in the grown-up world and obviously thinking about life after rugby with the different businesses and coffee shops and stuff, you go, oh, it's not much fun for kids now, is it? Do you know, I came through an era where I think was like golden. Do you know what I mean? No phones, just about Nokia is coming through. Able to go out, enjoy like the countryside, and now, you know, like you say about the cost of living, like electric going up, fuel prices, trying to get to games. I was very fortunate that like my dad was driving me, different coaches were driving me. Like obviously I was only young, I didn't have a bean in my pocket, like, but without those and that support, it's tough, you know. And then you think like I was, you know, my two sisters are older, me and my brother, if we wanted to do both things at the same time, different locations, like, well, we'll have 2 cars. It's like, and it's tough. It is really tough. And, you know, like I said, whatever the boys are happiest doing, but as long as it's the same place, at the same time, I'll be happier as well.
Yeah, as long as one car needed.
Yeah.
But mate, like, I've loved talking with you. I'm gonna. There's oh my god, there's so much in your career that we literally haven't touched on. I'm gonna dive straight into 2013 Lions series. Your first Lions tour out in Australia.
Yeah.
All you got to do is Google Georgia North Lions, and there's memes, there's photos of that tackle. It wasn't even a tackle. I don't know what it was, right, with Israel Folau. Yeah, miscommunication. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
But actually, step away from that iconic moment, right? Because what were your memories of that tour? Because that was a hell of a tour.
Yeah, I think that with the 2011 World Cup were 2 of my favourite tours ever.
Really?
Just incredible. Again, maybe a elixir of youth, maybe the company I was with, how they panned out. But 2013 was just an incredible year. It's the year that I felt my body was good. Mentally, I was in a good spot. You know, there's a lot of Welsh guys in the squad.
Yeah,
that makes it easier. The challenges that was ahead, the way they panned out, was just incredible, you know, and that real camaraderie that was built over those, you know, early weeks before the test series was just incredible. And, you know, if you had to be romantic and pick a way to win a 3-part series, you'd go, you know, win one, lose one, finish on a good one.
Yeah, you would.
And so I couldn't have written a better outcome for the 2013 Lions. And me personally, like I said,
because you scored in the first test. I mean, that was a hell of a try.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favourite tries.
Was it really? Do you have a favourite try?
I got a list.
I
don't know how to wind you up there. It's like, have you got one? No, it's one of my favourite ones. And again, it's just like, I felt like my form was good, mentally in a good space, physically not carrying too many bumps and bruises, and just ready for the unknown and the challenge, you know. And yeah, I look back on that one with a very big smile on my face.
Yeah, hell of a time. Fondest memory of that tour? Like, you know, something that jumps out at you?
First try, then the few days in Noosa between the second and third test was just incredible.
Actually, because the energy, even like watching from here, like it was all came down to the third test.
It's very Gats way. We went straight from the second test to Noosa and did like 3-4 days training, had a couple of days to chill and then a couple of days, and then we flew in for the last test, which is probably the best thing to get out of the pressure pot. But those days were incredible, you know, just like the scale of what we had done to date, the situation we're in and what we were going to, it just kind of brought us a lot closer. And then we weren't flying until like 2 days after the last test, so it was just outrageous.
Messy.
It was so wild. I remember winning a set of Oakley sunglasses on a watt bike challenge.
Oh, nice.
Hungover, almost vomited. Still won them. Completely forgot about them. Had to run and get them. Just like
Bex would have been proud of you, actually.
Yeah, not of what she saw. But like this, the groups of boys, you know, how not just the nations thing together, but the mixture and like going out for food, and it was just incredible. One of the best memories of my career, to be honest.
Awesome. We talked a bit about teams, identity, and being part of something bigger. Looking back at your career so far, Saints, first year in Saints, you won the Premiership.
And the Amlin, which was
Amlin,
like the
European
old,
Cup, European Shield.
It's now the Challenge. Not the Champions, the Challenge. So
yeah, hell of a first season at the club, right?
Yeah, incredible.
Scarlets, Ospreys. When you think back at the teams you played for, which is the team that shouts being part of something bigger the most? You know, where maybe even in the moment you thought, actually, I'm part of something special here.
Do you know what? That first sort of 2-3 season at Northampton were just incredible. We were very lucky. We had big names. We had unreal squad guys, unreal like starters, backup, the academy boys coming through, and I absolutely loved my time at Northampton. I know, like you said, you know, we won the Prem, the Amlin the first year, got to the semi-final second year, same on the third year. I think we were in the mixer, like to playoffs, and to go that. The main point of movement to Northampton was the silverware and the opportunity to fight for it. And the first 3 seasons, I'm knee deep in it. The squad we had, like I said, it was just incredible. The friendships, like I mentioned Alex Waller, but there's loads of guys from that squad that are still very good friends with me now, and I keep in touch with. And the other thing was Northampton. My sister was close by. She lived in Northampton with her family, but she'd been there a lot longer. I think she's been, when I got there, she'd been there, 7-8 years already. And then that's the first time since I left home when I was 16 that I had family close by. So
That's cool.
They lived, 3-4 mile down the road.
Yeah.
And it was just an amazing time in my life. Amazing 5 seasons I had there, yeah.
What do you look forward to the next 3 years of your career?
I think this has been incredible. I think, I guess, understanding, this move was about me and the family, and I think the next decision will be the same.
Yep.
I think now it'll be a time for understanding what's important with the family. So whether I keep playing, I still think I got some good rugby in me, still feel like it, still competing.
You're in great shape, mate. It's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, I know, but thanks, dude. That's really kind of you. Is it time to finish now? No, I still feel like I compete. Body's feeling body's feeling really good. Mentally, I'm in a good spot. But it has been 16 odd years now when I
it's a long time.
and it's a long time. And I think I touched on it earlier. I got different businesses and different interests now outside.
I had a great cake in the Baffle House.
That's good. That's good to hear.
The one outside Cowbridge I went to. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So there's exciting bits going on, but whether I can put growing up for another year or two back a bit, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But like I said, like body and mind, I'm in a really good spot at the moment. And I can think of worse places to be for a few years out here. So the 3-year one, I don't know yet. We're still working on it.
Day by day, right?
Yeah. It was get Christmas done, and we survived Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
And then now it's we've got a big push now to the end of the season now. So we're round 15, round 16 this week. So I think it's the first time in a while that it's not a while, because I've always enjoyed and been excited about my job and what I do, but everything's an exciting possibility for me now. Whether I keep going and playing some good rugby and really enjoy my rugby, or whether whether I take a step away and that part of excites me. Getting stuck into a new challenge, a new physical, new mental challenge. A typical rugby answer, I've not worked that bit out yet.
When I retired, I fell off the edge of a cliff because I just didn't have a roadmap after rugby. The decision was taken out of my hands through injury, but I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't really have. I didn't realise the tools that I had, the skills I had to transition. I look at you, and you're still in the game, you're still playing, but you're an entrepreneur as well. You've got commercial activities outside of the game.
Entrepreneur, the loosest possible word. Fashion.
A coffee brand.
I couldn't even spell it. E-I-E-E.
But how much, you've talked about the relationship you have with Becky and how much of a support that has been throughout your career. How much of an inspiration was seeing Becky transition from elite sport and actually start a really successful life in business outside of it?
I think it'd be fair to say, and she probably won't be too angry if I said this, but she might.
I really want you to say it, but I don't want to be responsible.
Hence why I'm eyeballing the mic at the moment. She struggled.
Yeah.
She struggled. I think it was something we spoke about at the time, was the lack of structure. You're told where to be, what to do, what to wear.
Oh, yeah.
And then next minute you're told nothing. And it's and I think she struggled. She did struggle. And, fair play. She and herself on her own, and, we got through it. And, she started, doing, how to focus and rejigging. And, she's at a point where she's much better, but she certainly did struggle. And I think I think whether it's taken from you or whether you decide to walk away, I think it is still hard.
Oh, it's still a hole,
But
right?
oh yeah, I mean, a massive hole. And for the whole point of my career, ever since I was sort of in the academy, it was like, oh, rugby's only a short career. You'll be out of it longer than you're in it, and all this stuff. You got to prepare for the future. And then you tell a 17-year-old kid in the academy that you got to prepare for the future, and all he's ever focused on is being what you're telling him you have to focus not to be. I'm like, that's berserk.
Yeah,
because
it is. Yeah.
because all I want to be is what I am right now. And but I was very thankful that I was pushed in the right to get busy. I had good people around me to sort of advise me on what I should do, what I shouldn't do. You know, preparing for the future, what that looks like. And then you meet the right people. Obviously, I'm in Baffle House, but I'm also in with Ground Bakery as well. And I met, you know, me and Becky wanted to have a coffee shop, and we got chatting away. We had Becky made wedding cakes for a long time.
Yeah.
Then we had a coffee van. Then we realized that it was only for events, and then it got, well, we want to you know, it evolves.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for the people I've met along the way, and you know, Becky with me as well. And well, this is what we want to do. How do we get there? And then there's been times where I'm like, oh my god, how did I have so much time? Do you know what I mean? And then you go, I spent so much time like flapping, doing nothing.
What, the early part of your career
after
now?
training.
Yeah,
and now you go, excuse me, you got this, I got to do this, got to meet this guy, I got to try and set up, you know.
And kids as well. Like,
And then you throw children in there, you're going like, but this is berserk. Whose idea was this? But it's got to a point now where I'm really grateful that I did do that. And I'm a big believer, especially in elite sport, me personally, you know, other people do it differently, but you really have to switch off to switch on.
Yes, you do, yeah.
And with me, it was so sort of finely wound up at that point that I needed that outside thing to keep me switched on the field. And that was very important to me and to Becky, and it gave us a real focus. And it's got to a point now where, you know, it's up and running. It's been, you know, for, you know, almost 5 years now, they're still going. And there's other things outside of rugby that are always there, and I work on around it. And it's good to have these conversations. Like, it's like nice to speak to people that are not in that sort of circle of rugby sometimes. They've been in it, but you know what I mean? It's like different conversations, because as much as I love rugby, it can become repetitive in the season. So yeah, you need the switch off to be able to switch back on, in my humble opinion.
Have you always been into bikes?
I've always loved. My dad is an engineer in the RAF. In his words, he was too big and too blind to fly planes. So then he fixed everything on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's a Yorkshireman. So whenever I grew up, we had different toys growing up, like quad bikes, motorbikes, ride on lawnmowers, but he took the blades off because he thought he was safer. Still things spinning around. Anyway, but he was all by them, like they're broken and work, and then being the engineer and the Yorkshireman, we'd fix them up, and you'd learn, and you spend time with dad doing that, and that was incredible. And I always had this, anything I shouldn't be involved in, like that was noisy and fast, I loved. Loving mountain biking, downhill.
We're really similar there, bro.
I was told I had to stop. Well, it's a long story, that one, but in the academy I fell off, took a skill back, fractured scaphoid, cracked my head open.
Oh, nice.
And I had to sit down. Do you really want to be doing this when you've got potentially a professional career? I was like, maybe not. So for a lot of my first contracts, mountain biking was written in it. I couldn't do that. But yeah, and like you learn as your career goes. You need a bit of like headspace. So and then I've always loved bikes, loved cars, just for that freedom it gives you. And again, son of a.
You call yourself a petrol head?
I am. Yeah,
I call myself a petrol head.
I am. I don't have to say that. I was trying to think of a funnier way of saying it. But yeah, I am petrol head. And my dad was, when he was in the RAF, he was in Germany, and he tells me stories about like saving no money but wasting it on cars, and I'm like, oh god. And then Becky's like, no.
Do you know what? I can remember my dad giving me my first toolbox.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so my dad was an engineer too, and I grew up racing motorbikes, like scrambling. And I can remember like rebuilding piston heads with my dad, you know, on the drive in the front of the house outside the garage, and like really good times.
Well,
really
my old man now, I say now, for many years, is what you get a guy, this is me now, for birthday and Christmas. So he just buys me different tools.
Oh, slush.
So like, what did he buy me? I've had different spanner sets, torque wrench, socket sets, 1/2-inch drive, coil. Because he goes, I know we haven't got. And he goes off. And then next thing you know, my present is he bought me a ladder one year because I didn't have a ladder. So yeah, but son of an engineer and petrol head. And I love, and that's the thing with Baffle. I love meeting people because we get anyone and everyone come through.
Yeah.
You know, you get guys that have restored like, you know, their cars from their childhood, like a 205 GTI or something. Then you get a guy that's obviously done incredibly well in business that's just sold out, bought the Bugatti Chiron that's like millions, but they're sharing the same space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Or the bikes, you know, I restored this. Or you know, there's one of our customers in Goitra where in our Baffle House there, he restores tractors. He brought this tractor and I'm like, who is it? The hell is it a tractor? He's like, oh, it's you know, he's restored it, nut and bolt. And it's like, I just think it's incredible what, you know, that appreciation that you get. So yes, yeah, I am a petrol head. Yeah.
Do you know what I really appreciate you sharing that story, mate. I've got to say it because I don't want to be weird with you, but I lost my dad a couple of years ago, and I when you told me about your dad buying you tools, like my dad used to buy me tools all the time. The last tool he bought me was a multi-tool. He started me on DeWalt power tools, and now you're locked in with battery. Gotta get. Yeah. And he bought me a multi-tool, and he said this. He actually said this will get you out of more trouble. No, this will get you out of whatever trouble you get into. When I was renovating the house, and he's so right. Like he's so right. The amount of times like my carpentry skills have gone amiss, and the multi-tool has got me out of trouble. It's
well, my dad was a Bosch man for years.
Was he?
And then he said, "Oh, the quality's dropped. He's a Milwaukee man now."
Oh, is he? Okay, the red of Milwaukee.
Yeah, but he's back and forth between Bosch. I can't decide. They go weird. That's escalated. Isn't it?
that was weird twist. What would you give your sons now?
I imagine many people in the world will say they got the best dad in the world, but I honestly think I had the best dad in the world, and I said that in my wedding speech, and I didn't cry, obviously.
Obs. You're going to stop me crying soon.
Like I said to my dad that he was the dad of the year every year, and I said I truly believe that, and if I could be half the dad he was, then I will be a very, very good dad. And for me, I want my boys to feel that anything is possible, nothing is impossible, and they can do it on their own, but they'll always have me, I'm going to cry now as well, me behind them to do it. But I want them to feel whether it's good or bad, it goes right or wrong, that I will always fix it for them. And we'll whatever happens, we'll do it together. And having spent a lot of time away from home is that it's always here. Like you can go and do your adventures like my dad said to me, but if it doesn't work, which is highly unlikely, my old man said to me, home is always here for you, and that's very important to me.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thanks, brother.
Pleasure, bud.
Thank you. Well, Cardiff to Provence and back in 24 hours. Still, a fun trip to the south of France to catch up with George. What a guy. And what a place. Diolch, thanks to George for finding the time in between training to catch up and share a beautiful conversation which took us all the way through his career, back to some really hard moments, but also through the incredible things he's achieved both on and off the pitch. George is a warrior, but I love how, like me, he's courageous in being vulnerable. I really enjoyed reflecting on life's challenges as athletes, as well as dads and husbands and sons and teammates. We just don't talk enough about these things. It always means a lot to me when I'm able to share such intimate conversations, especially with someone I respect as much as I do George. I mean, of course, it was awesome to record in Provence, but for this episode, the team and I also travelled up to his local club in Llangefni. We talked to people involved with the club to see where it all started. A club that is a thriving junior setup, but also a place with its fair share of challenges. But despite the challenges they're facing, those involved in Llangefni Rugby Club have a lot to say about how important their club is. and the opportunities for the future.
The fact that in rugby, it is a team. Everyone has a different role within that team, and everyone has to do that to, that role well for the team to succeed. And the other really good thing is that it's properly grassroots, so to play rugby, to join the team, like when Ellis first started joining, didn't even have to buy boots. They have a boot bank, and until you actually join up, which is something like £40 a year, a gum shield, and that's it. That's all that you need when you get a bit older. And when you're young, you don't even need that. And so it really is access for everybody. It's an opportunity for everyone to have a go, and to be part of the team and to train before you even have to commit to anything, and certainly before you have to spend a lot of money. And I think that's really important, because it's a really good opportunity for bringing people together, to whatever level they want to play.
I think we flourish as a rugby club because sometimes there are issues and problems in the area, because we have this strong sense of community, strong sense of family, and I think that attracts players to the rugby team. And whilst we still, as a club, try and promote lots of the girls getting involved, all the coaching, this is all volunteer based. So we do struggle sometimes, not just in the girls section but across the junior section, to get as many volunteers as we need. And we're very, very reliant on parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, and people helping us. That's my main concern.
I'm really glad that I've got the opportunity to sponsor the team this coming season. And it's, to me, it makes complete sense. I was absolutely delighted to have the opportunity, because it's that local kind of community input that you can have, having watched the team progress, and as individuals as well as a team, because it's not just about, succeeding in the matches and things. There's nothing, I think, that would give me more sort of delight than being a part of that and watching the sponsorship have that input and be able to, help them along a little bit this season.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, Rich Parks, on this episode of Beyond the Breakdown. And like all good rugby club talks, a lot of thanks. A huge thanks, diolch, to George, the production team at Copper, Eben Pierce from Cardiff Metropolitan University, who gathered the Vox Pops, Chris Gum at Llangefni Rugby Football Club, Sophie Jenkinson from Round Our Way, Mike Brown from Cardiff Rugby, Alex Bevan, Becky Jarvis, Joe Towns, and to Chris Raymond, Frankie Horborough, Dylan Jones, Simon Jones, and Jen Owen, who all spoke to us at Llangefni Rugby Football Club.